Hi everyone, Andrew here again, out and about for my walk around the fabulous Lao Cai in Vietnam. Wow, it's a lovely day today. It's still chilly, it's nice though, it's great to be out and doing my steps. It's the last day of February and that means one thing for me, that is full review of February's exercise. And I thought I'd share a little bit with you today. I mean, I've not got my stats in front of me, but I've been walking every single day. I've been averaging over 10,000 steps per day, which is fabulous. And that was my goal for the month. Let me just alter my headphone here a second so I can hear. I've got my headphones on at the moment. I'm not recording from them, but I've been listening to podcast. Fabulous podcast, actually. It's from the guys who are in Coronation Street. I think it's called the On the Sofa podcast. Really, really good. For those that do watch Coronation Street, it's Craig Tinker, the policeman. You've got David Platt in there, and you've also got his brother. I've forgotten his name off the top of my head. But fabulous and funny. Really, really funny. My sort of humour. They're not talking about Coronation Street. They're just talking about lots of things in their lives, some video reviews. It really is a good podcast, so well recommended. And yeah, I'm walking down the street laughing out loud. I've got my wireless headphones on and you can't really tell I've got headphones on, and I think people thought I was being crazy just laughing away, but it was good. I'm again on the Osmo Pocket 2. Decided to test out a few more settings today. I'm doing 4K in 60 frames, so it should be quite a smooth what would you call it? A smooth video, let's say. That's probably what you would call it. I just wanted to test that out and see how it came across, obviously, when I look at it later on. I've got it in the Pro settings, so that means I can manually adjust a couple of things. What I've done basically is I've adjusted the exposure, EV, or the exposure value, so that it's at minus 0.7, I think it is. I think it's minus 0.7. Let me just have a little check. I can't check it while it's on the screen at the moment. Yeah, 0.7, minus 0.7 EV. So that's just darkening the light a little bit and potentially giving a little bit more, maybe a little bit more focus or detail in the sky. It's very difficult. It's very white and bright at the moment to get the perfect settings. If you leave it in auto, it tends to go too white. And I think even at this 0.7 adjustment in this part of the video, the sky's going to look very washed out, very overexposed. Obviously my face should be exposed well, but I'm trying to get a good balance between the two. On a blue sunny sky day it wouldn't be a problem, but on a white sky day like this, to get the actual details of any clouds is quite difficult. So I'm playing around with the settings, the Pro mode. I've auto set the white balance. I don't think I need to change that. I'm not really changing environments too often. I think if you're moving from one environment to the other environment, auto is obviously a good setting. I could have set a locked value for the white balance while I'm walking around in this consistent lighting, but I thought it'll just stay in that lighting anyway. And if I do go through some slightly darker settings, it will adjust automatically. Yeah, I think 60 frames is going to be the one for me, having reviewed back the 24 frames video I did and the 30 frames video I did yesterday. I think the 60 just generally looks a little bit better. Obviously my videos are me walking around, so there's not a lot of movement going on in terms of around me. Let me just flip it round, because this is where the 60 frames generally comes in. If you've got more frames per second, motion looks a bit smoother. And as I said, obviously if you're in the lower frames per second, like 24, motion appears more realistic. And what I mean by that is there's a slight blurring of things when things move, which is how we see them in real life. And generally movies and TV shows, etc., will try to film in that 24 frames. If you notice any really, really smooth and unrealistic TV shows, that's because they're filming in very high frames per second. But movies in general, 24 frames, cinematic look. There's that word I couldn't get out the other day, cinematic. I'm not interested in cinematic look, I just want the best picture as I can. So colour profile today, I've gone back to the colour profile. That's the main one that's standard in the camera. I thought the one yesterday was quite good. Messing around a little bit with the different settings. I put it in the cine-like setting. and made some adjustments, and I thought I got a really good quality picture. But I'm interested now to combine today's colour setting to yesterday's cine-like version, and see what the differences are, and if it does the job. It should do. I mean, that's the auto setting. I can always change some of the saturation and the brightness and contrast manually anyway, even with that colour profile. Let me flip it back round to me. I think it's still a little bit bright there. I think I could adjust the exposure value a little bit more, so I'm just going to do that now and see what the differences are. There we go. So I've changed some settings. Actually noticed in the settings just now that I hadn't got it on auto. I'd got it on manual, but I've got it set to a maximum 100 ISO because of the lighting, and I've also changed the other setting there. I can't remember the name of it, but I've increased it so it should look a little bit darker out of the camera naturally. It'd be interesting. I think I'll do another change just now as well, so I can combine the test into one video. Okay, so this is full auto mode. So in this mode, it's doing the any corrections, exposure corrections as it needs. I still think this is too overexposed in the sky, so I'm going to again check some settings and come back. And there we go. So basically I've just changed the exposure value to -1, so that should darken that lighting up a little bit. That looks good to me actually as I'm looking at it on the screen. It's certainly going to look different when I put it on my iPad and onto the computer, but it's definitely better than the pure auto settings. So don't be afraid to try some of the manual settings when you're doing a video. In this case, obviously the main focus is my face, but you don't want the sky to be too blown out, otherwise it won't look great. And with these, I'm going to say, these cheaper cameras that are designed for vlogging, they're not particularly great at exposing in the distance when you're doing a vlog style. The more expensive DSLR cameras are very good at that, and obviously that's why top-end YouTube channels tend to use those high-end cameras from Sony, Canon, etc. But I'm interested in that little setting there, changing it to -1. I think has made the difference for me. Certainly, it looks better through my screen. You can see it's just gone a bit dark there. It's caught up again. See, in a darker area, potentially that EV setting is wrong. But actually I'm just coming to some under tree section. You might see here my side of my face looks a little bit underexposed, but when I see it on the iPad I might be perfect. Yeah, just having fun messing with these settings. The great thing is there's not too many manual settings. I'm certainly not messing around with manual focusing and things like that because it's a fixed focal length lens. You've got a choice between what they call single autofocus and continuous autofocus, and through my own testing and research as well, I think continuous autofocus is the best. Obviously that means if I put something into the front of the camera, it will focus on that, and if I come away, it will then refocus. If I leave it on single autofocus, it won't do that. It will tend to just focus on what you tap on the screen. But yeah, it's just interesting having fun with this, and that's the key, isn't it? I suppose it's a hobby for me at the moment, just playing around with video. Very basic editing afterwards. You know, in the case of this video, because there's a few sections where I've stopped the video and I've pressed on the settings, they just need putting together as one file. And interestingly, when you record in 4K on this camera, it splits that video up into sections anyway, so you do have to do some editing in terms of splicing together those sections, which is very easy. There's many apps that can do that, and in particular I use Luma Fusion, which is a paid for app on the iPad and rates among probably the best iPad video editing app. You can do so many things with it, but in my case I'm just tweaking some colors a little bit, editing the sections together and then uploading directly to YouTube. Obviously I've filmed this in 4K. And most people don't actually have 4K devices. Certainly they're watching back in probably 1080p in the most times. So it might be interesting. I think today I might upload in 1080p, so it's a 4K video, but I actually will upload in 1080p. Now, my first question I had, and I think most people, is why don't you just film in 1080p if you're going to upload at 1080p? Well, through a little bit of research and my own testing, the quality of the video is better when you film in 4K and upload in 1080p. There's just more detail in a 4K footage, so when it's downgraded in reality to 1080, it's a better version than if you'd filmed it in 1080. So all the reviews, all the tests I've done suggest film in the highest possible quality you can, and then change that in post-production, i.e. through the app, before you post it to your chosen social media outlet. In my case, it's the YouTube channel. Testing out, did a live video yesterday. Quite like the idea of the live video, walking around like now. Wouldn't it be cool if this was also just uploading direct to YouTube in its fullest quality, or what quality you choose? At the moment it's sort of fixed quality, 720p, and it's in a portrait mode as well. I would like it to do full choice. Obviously lots of data, and you can't actually do it with this camera, but it's just something I would be interested in. Whilst you're filming, it's also going live, but it's also being stored on YouTube. But there we go. Walking and talking, that's pretty much what I'm doing at the moment, as I'm talking myself through the different things I'm doing with this camera. Such a light camera, and because of that gimbal, it stays nice and balanced. And even when you're walking, you're generally only going to get the bobbing up and down, and that's me moving, not the camera. The camera's staying perfectly still, but I'm bobbing up and down because I'm walking. It can't obviously follow my steps in the same way. Because I've got it in the high resolution mode, the 4K 60, you can't do the face tracking in this mode, so it's just me keeping myself in the middle, looking at the camera. You see, hold it a little bit further away, you get more of the background. That's quite good. Just turn this round now so you can see a bit more of the street I'm on. This is the main road that goes through Lao Cai, and depending on what time of day it is, I'll end up on this road at some point, either going away from my walk or coming back from my walk. I generally don't go back on the same road as I leave, because I want to try and see something different. Today I wanted to do the video here on the main road, testing out the lighting and testing out the exposure. But coming back later, I'll go through the back streets, let's say. But it's nice to have a walk around, and lots of different shops, and shops that you won't be used to back home in the UK, totally different. Similar, obviously, types of clothes, but different brands. There's one of the main banks here in Vietnam, Vietcom Bank. I actually use that bank, very straightforward, very easy. They have an app that's also in English, which is helpful when you're living in a foreign, or I suppose it's not a foreign country, but a country that's not your own. Being able to have access to English language and apps is very good. Over here, the main messaging app actually is called Zalo, Z-A-L-O. Very much like Facebook Messenger, very much like WhatsApp, but everybody uses it. And you can use it for things like transferring money as well between friends and family. It has a Zalo Pay function, which is a bit like an Apple Pay. You register your card with it and you can use it in shops, QR codes in shops. And it's very popular. We use it at work exclusively for the team, in groups. But yeah, it's just interesting. Different countries use different chat apps and ways of doing things. To the point where here in Vietnam, those sort of apps are much more popular than actual email. And it's not uncommon to send email and people not read it for quite a while, because they're not used to working via email. They're used to using the Zalo. So if you need a quick answer, then Zalo's the future for them, or the way to do things. Coming to the roundabout, the top end of Lao Cai, where you can sort of turn back, or you can go onwards into different streets and over towards the border of China. Managed to actually do a quick check here. We stopped a bit while we're messing around with the settings, but 40-minute walk so far, 2 kilometers 20. I've got so used to things being in kilometers now since I moved away from the UK back in 2009, and it just seems to make some sense to me. A kilometre based on obviously meters and centimeters, it seems to be makes more sense than miles ever did. Playing golf though, I'm still using yards. I'm not moving into meters. Yards again for me has just been inbuilt. When I was younger, I know how far I hit my clubs based on a yardage number. I suppose converting to meters wouldn't be too difficult, but all golf courses are generally measured in yards, and when you see it on the television they're always talking in yards, so there's no need for me to change. Oh, that's the wedding going on here at the hotel at some point. Nice hotel, Lao Cai Star Hotel. This has a Highlands coffee attached to it, very nice place. Obviously a big hotel, they've got a swimming pool, they've got a karaoke bar, they've got restaurants, and like I say, they've got the Vietnamese famous Highlands coffee. Very much like your Costa or your Starbucks style of big brand coffees, available pretty much everywhere in Vietnam. Looking forward to getting back home later and doing some editing on this video, and each time I do a video it's learning something new each time. And I think, you know, when you do post videos on YouTube, the key is to try and improve them in some way every time you do it, and at the moment I'm really just talking about what I'm doing with the camera. That's a nice dragon statue outside the hotel. Yeah, I'm just talking about the process I'm going through when I'm editing videos, when I'm learning. So learning on the fly. It's like most people, I've always taken videos and photos with my phone and maybe some cameras over the time, but never really messed too much with editing. I've never really trusted the process of, you know, you want it to look right for your own eye, makes so much sense. And then you don't get worried about things, you just tweak it until you're happy with it and then post it. If you get any feedback, you can adjust it if you need to, but generally it's you're making it for yourself, or I certainly am at this stage. It's nice if people do watch these videos. I'm very honoured if people do that, but I've started making these videos so that I can replay them and use them as a source of inspiration for me. I'm on a journey to losing weight and getting healthy, and getting out and exercising is my current choice of exercise. And whilst I'm doing these videos as well, it's encouraging me to get out and do some exercise. This morning in particular, I didn't feel very motivated to get up and get out, and I started watching my video again from yesterday, and I thought, oh, I want to make some changes today, do some slightly different settings. I've got to get out and go and do a walk so I can do the video. And now I'm 3 kilometers or so into that walk. It's fantastic. I'll just give you a quick turn round. So I used the video and the new video for today as an inspiration to get me going again for the day. Nice roundabout there opposite the Saigon Bank. I'm going to leave you to it, guys. Have a wonderful day ahead. I don't know when I'll actually post this video, but it's likely to be mid to late afternoon. Have a great day, whatever time it is with you. Thank you very much for watching these videos, and if you do find them of some interest, click the like and the subscribe button and share it with your friends. As I go forward, I'm going to start to look at some topics to talk about, but at the moment I'm just showing you where I'm living in Lao Cai and talking about the process of making these videos using the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. Take care, stay safe. I'll see you all again soon.